Dan Carter, the great man himself, really determined to win tonight.
Okay, Dupont versus Carter.
Yeah.
Prime against prime. I mean, it's the rugby clash we've all sort of dreamt about, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A proper dream matchup.
So you've got Antoine Dupont, the French scrum-half phenom. We're talking explosive pace, just relentless energy,
Freakish athleticism, really.
Exactly. And that knack for slicing through defenses, especially around the ruck. Pinpoint passes under pressure, too. Surprisingly solid tackler as well.
Yeah, he punches above his weight defensively.
But the potential catch, maybe, is that raw instinct, sometimes maybe clashing with more structured game plans, especially when the pressure's really on strategically.
Well, that's fascinating, because it brings us straight to the contrast, doesn't it? Dan Carter.
The Kiwi fly half.
For many, arguably the greatest 10 ever. I mean, his game was built on different things.
Yeah.
Vision, that masterful tactical kicking.
And the goal kicking. Flawless, especially when it mattered most.
Ice in his veins.
Right. He controlled the tempo, almost like a chess grandmaster directing play. Strategically brilliant. Solid defense, too, though maybe perhaps not quite the same raw physicality or defensive impact as Dupont.
Perhaps not as, or fearsome defensively, yeah. Lack that explosive athleticism Dupont has.
So, okay, that's the setup. You've got the flair, the unpredictable genius of Dupont, going head-to-head with Carter's calculated control, game management.
Exactly. Orchestration versus instinct.
Which approach wins out? That's what we want to dig into today, Understand what made these guys legends through this hypothetical showdown.
It really boils down to, I think, the impact of that individual, maybe spontaneous brilliance versus consistent strategic dominance over the full 80 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Dupont's speed, his instinct, it can unlock a defense in a split second. You see him explode from the base, spot gaps that, don't even seem to be there yet.
Creates chaos for the other team. Total chaos.
And his passing is genuinely world-class, isn't it? Hitting runners even when he's got defenders all over him. And like we said, don't underestimate his defense. He's much stronger than people might think for a 9.
True. But then you think about the grind of a full test match, particularly in the tight moments, under intense pressure.
Right.
Does that reliance on instinct become perhaps a bit of a double-edged sword? Structured defenses, good tactical kicking, they can sometimes box in even the most gifted improvisers.
So the question becomes, can that sheer brilliance be consistently effective within a really tight strategic framework imposed by the opposition and by Carter?
That's the crux of it.
Yeah.
And then you flip to Carter.
Precision, control, that was his game.
He could just dissect a defense with a perfectly weighted kick, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Pin teams back in their corners.
And the goal kicking, we mentioned it, but it bears repeating. Legendary. Pressure just didn't seem to exist for him in those moments.
He orchestrated attacks, guided his team around the park, always seemed to make the right call at the right time. It wasn't flashy, necessarily.
No, not always flashy, but incredibly effective.
Another huge part of Carter's greatness was that ability to just read the game. He anticipated plays, understood momentum shifts, adjusted his strategy on the fly.
It wasn't always about the spectacular highlight reel play, was it?
Not at all. It was about consistent, relentless excellence in, all parts of the fly half job, wearing opponents down through sheer accuracy and tactical smarts.
Okay, so we've painted the picture. The instinctive genius versus the strategic maestro. Now, our source material actually ran a simulation of this dream game.
And the outcome.
Dan Carter. Carter takes the win.
Okay, and the reasoning?
It was summed up pretty succinctly. Class over chaos.
Class over chaos. Yeah, that makes sense. It really captures that idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That while Dupont would have had these incredible moments, maybe scored a wonder try or set one.
Oh, definitely. He'd have tested Carter, no doubt.
But over the full 80 minutes, Carter's overall control, his strategic mastery, would likely dictate the flow and ultimately the result of the match.
It really highlights the enduring power of strategic thinking in a team game like rugby. Even that breathtaking individual talent has to function within a bigger picture, a game plan.
And sustained high-level execution of that plan can often, nullify even the most explosive, unpredictable threats.
So for you listening, maybe looking for those quick but thorough insights, here's something to chew on. In many areas, not just sport, that consistent strategic application can often outweigh even the most sort of dazzling flashes of raw talent in the long run.
Which leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Something to ponder. In your own life, your own field, where does that balance lie between instinct and strategy for achieving what you want to achieve?
Does class over chaos hold true beyond the rugby pitch in the areas that matter most to you? Something to think about.